started. And everybody said that y'all could still hear me loud and clear, right? So when I start to share my screen, I cannot always see the chat directly on my desktop. And so you might see me kind of looking sideways because I have multiple monitors. And that's just me trying to keep an eye on the chat space for y'all. So I want to make sure, can everybody see the slide deck up on the screen? I will make it bigger. Hold on just a sec here. I want to make sure that everybody can see that for me. Perfect. And it also sounds like the sound is still loud and clear, which is awesome. So y'all, welcome officially to SNHU. We are so excited to have you here. We're so excited that you could take some time and join us for your very first webinar of the term. So again, today is for students that are starting classes on June 30th for either IDS 105 or SNHU 107. Okay, and I'm going to pop my camera on real quick. Hey, everybody, I'm Melanie. Welcome. As I mentioned to y'all, today's session is recorded. First and foremost, your experience here at Southern New Hampshire University is incredibly important to us. It is our policy and practice to create an inclusive and accessible learning environment. If there are any aspects of instruction or course design that present barriers to any accessibility, we have an amazing online accessibility center team. They're also called the OAC for short, and you can reach out to them via phone at 866-305-9430, or you can email them at oac@snhu.edu, or you can visit the Online Accessibility Center website. What does that mean? It just means that SNHU has a department that helps you get content, like webinar content, classroom content, in a way that works best for you and your learning style. If you have questions about this, if you want to know more about it, reach out directly to our OAC team. They're really easy to work with, and students, when you need that kind of benefit, they are wonderful to support your success. Okay, couple of webinar reminders, just some housekeeping reminders. Your cameras and microphones are not enabled. So I think everybody can see the screen. Hopefully you can see me in the video. And today's session is recorded too. Also, when you are in your e-classrooms, when you're in that bright space, classroom space, when you're in SNHU Connect, when you're in webinars, they're always all considered academic spaces. So always be mindful of your conduct. Bring your best self forward. That's what I always tell students in my classes. These webinars for SNHU 107 and IDS 105, they're not graded. You don't have to come. You don't have to watch them. However, every single week of the term, so week 1, module 1 through week 8, module 8, there is a webinar that walks you through your assignments, some of the classroom concepts to help you understand them, where to click, how to find things. It's just there as an extra support measure, okay? So that is what the webinars are here for. So today's session is live. The majority of the webinars are pre-recorded or on demand is what we call them, and they're loaded and ready to go every single Monday morning of a new module and a new start week, okay? The reason I tell you that is because I know that everybody's schedules are busy. So sometimes middle of the day just doesn't work, right? But just know that they're always recorded. If there's ever a live session and you can't attend it, it's recorded and uploaded within 24 hours. But most of the sessions for this term are already recorded. I record those throughout the week, and then I'll post them so they're ready to roll for you bright and early Monday morning. Sound good? So there's always a webinar schedule too. You can check that in SNHU Connect. I'll post reminders. Also, emails go to your SNHU email, and then a lot of faculty will remind you of the webinars coming up too, or they'll direct you to them in case you have questions on things, okay? Okay, so who am I? Hi, this is me. This is my family. I do teach a section of both SNHU 107 and IDS 105. I have taught for SNHU for over 10 years, but I have been in higher education, I'm going to date myself, for over 20. Whenever I say that out loud, I'm like, oh my goodness. But know that I have worked with students just like you for several years here at the university. So for some of you, I might actually be your instructor, but you can always find your instructor by logging into your Brightspace classroom and looking at that My Instructor information. Have y'all done that yet? Goes over who your instructor is. There might be a photo of them or a hobby or something that they enjoy. Tells you how to reach them, their contact information, things like that. But I do teach both SNHU 107 and IDS 105. I am part of what's considered our first year experience here, first year experience team at SNHU. So I get to also not only work with all you fabulous students, but I get to work with your incredible faculty. Fun facts about me, just because I think sometimes when you're online, you don't always get to know everybody behind the screen, is I absolutely love the water and I'm a part-time mermaid. I love the beach. I love the pool, the river, the lake. I don't care what it is, except for rain. I don't like rain. But I absolutely love the water. I live just outside of Pensacola Beach, Florida. So I think it was meant to be when we moved here about 10 years ago. But I'm an avid road bike cyclist. I love to read. I've had published authors in my classes before, and they've told me what books they write, which is awesome. So if any of you have book recommendations or you're an author, please send me your stuff. I love to review it. I absolutely love coffee. I love spending time with my boys and my husband. So I have two boys. They are 14 and going to be 11. Time needs to slow down. But the biggest thing is that I'm a resource for you. The learning community is here to be a resource for you. So I wanted to make sure that you kind of got to know a little bit about me. So what is this learning community? A lot of students are like, okay, I confuse the learning community with my like classroom space. So your assignments and everything you do that has a grade attached to it. So discussions, journals, project drafts, warm-up quizzes, all of those things you do in what's called Brightspace. That's that learn.snhu.edu. Okay. Have y'all been in there yet and explored your classrooms yet? If you haven't, get in there, click around, kind of find where things are. The learning community is actually in what's called SNHU Connect. That is where there's an academic space and there's a social space. So you can find clubs, organizations you might be interested in, but IDS 105 and SNHU 107 have dedicated learning community spaces. So what that means is nothing in there is graded. So nothing in the learning community is graded. Anything graded goes to Brightspace, okay? Always know that. And I remind students of that a lot in the learning community too. But it is a place where you can get to know other students that are taking the same classes as you. They might not be in your actual course section, but it is where the communities are for students that are either are taking or have taken IDS 105 or SNHU 107, okay? A lot of times students will ask questions about like, oh gosh, I'm stuck on this assignment. You know, how did you guys do this? Or like, hey, this is where I'm from, my major. Like you just build these connections, which is really cool. Plus I have webinars, like we're live today, but every single week of the term, there's a webinar for SNHU 107 and a webinar for IDS 105. Most of them, again, are pre-recorded or on demand, but they show you where to click, how to find assignments, and give you some ideas for your success, okay? However, if you ever have questions about your assignment specifically or how you're doing in your classroom, always go to your instructor first. Some of us do things a little bit differently, but just know that I work very closely with all of your faculty. And so the tips and the things that I share in the webinars come from our experience from working with students and being in these classes over the years, okay? Also, we have, besides these webinars, which usually the webinars are like 30 minutes or less, we also have these just-in-time videos called focus videos. So they're real quick, like a couple of minutes. They might show you like how to find the discussion board, or they might show you like how to respond to your classmates in a discussion board, or how to upload your journal assignment for their first time. Things like that, just real quick things, okay? And what does all of this equal? It equals your success, because we want to give you these extra support tools for your toolbox of success so that you can go from class to class and get all the way to the finish line of getting your degree, right? I want to pause just real quick, make sure that I got all the questions and stuff that might have been posted so far. So I saw a couple of questions about how long it can take faculty or professors to respond to you. If you have sent an email to an instructor or a professor like this last week or two, they probably haven't gotten back to you yet because your classes don't start until June 30th. So some of them might be on break. But no, once your class actively starts, faculty always respond within 24 hours. And I always tell students, like if you send an email to your faculty and you haven't heard back in just a couple of hours, don't send another one. We will get to you within 24 hours. And usually it's much faster than that. Okay. We're all different time zones. We all have different, life priorities, just like y'all. But know that we always respond within 24 hours. Okay. So I want to make sure I told you all that. The other thing is classes do start on Monday, June 30th, June 30th. And there's not a certain time that you have to log in. You just want to make sure you know what's due for module 1, week 1, and make sure you get your assignments turned in at that point in time, okay? Looks like we had a couple of sound issues, but everybody looks like they're good to go now. Perfect. Okay, so the learning community and SNHU Connect. Have you all seen these spaces? Once you have course access, so once you can get into your Brightspace classroom, that learn.snhu.edu, you will automatically have access to the learning community spaces. We're underneath the academics page, and you will see a community for IDS 105, and you will see a community for SNHU 107. Join the one for the class that you are taking, okay? If you get into the other one, you'll be confused about the assignment. So always make sure that you're in the right space, okay? There's also a ton of instructions and how to use SNHU Connect and how to log in on your My SNHU pages. There's a whole YouTube tutorial playlist that you can watch. There's also always helpful videos for even navigating Brightspace too. So I always like to remind students to do that, okay? I also saw a couple of questions about book vouchers. You want to work directly with financial services on any book vouchers or your SNHU advisor. And as far as assignments getting graded, just so you guys know, for example, like week 1, module 1, you will start your classes on Monday. You'll have an initial discussion post due by Thursdays, peer responses responding to 2 classmates by Sunday, and then any other assignments by Sunday, okay? And we'll talk more about that here in a minute to break it down. Your faculty then have 7 whole days to grade. Some faculty grade as things come in, some throughout the week, some you won't see things until 7 days later, okay? Once you get into SNHU Connect, there is a social platform and there's an academic platform. Academics is where you can find IDS 105 and SNHU 107. Okay. All right. So how are we feeling so far? Feeling okay? I am not sure if Dr. Winfield was able to pop in. Hold on, you guys, real quick. I wanted to make sure that I at least introduced you to him and a little bit about him and his amazing team. One of the really cool things about SNHU is just how much connection you can have to our leadership and our academic deans, which is always fabulous. So I don't think Dr. J was able to be with us today, but this is Dr. J, everybody. So say hello. Dr. J is Dr. James Winfield. He is one of our associate deans of first year experience and retention strategies here at SNHU. He also teaches SNHU 107. He also teaches IDS 105. And just a couple of fun facts about him. He's a Marvel fan. So where is my Marvel fans at? He absolutely loves to cook. He's a family man, and him and his team are another resource for you. One of the departments that Dr. J oversees is our peer mentors. These are students who have been just like you, started classes, managing life, and they're a wonderful connection piece for you. If you just kind of want somebody that kind of understands where you're coming from, definitely check out those peer mentors. So Dr. J always likes to share this acronym. But pop quiz. What is the university mascot? Y'all go. Ready? What is our mascot here at SNHU? Who can tell me? Kimberly, I saw your message about the same webinar. If you took SNHU 107 or IDS 105 8 weeks ago, you don't need to be here because you've already taken the class. Penmen, look at you all. Yes, rock stars, A+, the Penmen. So Dr. J has created an acronym, just a few things to remind you why you're here at SNHU, and it's the PEN acronym. So persist, engage, and network. So persist means to keep going. One foot in front of the other, one day at a time, one assignment at a time, one class at a time. Things will not always be sunshine and rainbows, but to keep going and to keep working after achieving those dreams. Engage is to get to know your classmates, your instructors, use the resources, and network is, get involved where you can, when you can, check out clubs, organizations, get to know the departments and the resources here that are at SNHU for your success, which is always really exciting. Okay, so just remember the PEN acronym, persist, engage, and network. The other thing we want to make, Kim, I love it. Thank you for being here. Kim is one of our students, is taking these classes right now. So she says hello to everybody. One of the big things we want you to remember here at SNHU is you got this. So who here has been out of school for a long time and now you're back? Let us know. Who here has never been in college classes before and this is your first time? Who here has tried school before and it didn't work out for whatever reason? Or maybe you've put other people through school and now it's your turn, right? Also, every single one of you has a lot on your plate, right? We have a lot of competing priorities. We could be working from home, outside the home. We could be raising kids. We could be raising those pet babies. We could be starting something new. We could be taking care of our aging parents. I mean, the list goes on. We all have things in our life that take up our time and our energy, and you have added school to that schedule. We are so incredibly thankful and grateful that you chose SNHU. And we know that we have a lot of departments and people that are here for your success, but we want you to know that you are 100% worth this journey. A lot of you might feel a whole host of emotions: excited, overwhelmed, nervous, like, oh my gosh, can I do this? The answer is absolutely, you can do this. Is it going to be hard work? Yes. Is it going to take your energy and some sacrifice? Yes. However, know at the end of the day that you 100% got this. And on those good days, be like, I got this. And on those days when it's not so good or things feel hard or maybe you didn't do so good on an assignment, just take a deep breath and remember, like, I can do this, I'm worth this, and I 100% got this, okay? So I want to chat through the classroom syllabus just real quick, both for SNHU 107 and IDS 105. So if you look at SNHU 107 and you're taking SNHU 107, you have 5 discussion assignments, 5 journal assignments, 3 warm-ups, and 1 final project, okay? With discussion assignments, no matter what class you're taking here at the university, there is going to be a series of questions that you answer, and that's what's considered your initial post. When you have a discussion assignment assigned in any of your classes, so pay attention to this too, IDS 105 students, your initial post, so answering those questions, is always due by Thursdays. Thursdays, 11:59 p.m. Okay, so put that kind of in your reminder bank or your calendar. If I have a discussion, my initial post is due by Thursday or before is convenient for your schedule. The very first week, it's due by 11:59 p.m. East Coast time. So pay attention to time zones. Also with discussions, this is where you get to know your classmates, share thoughts, share ideas, recommendations, all that kind of fun stuff. With your discussions, you have that initial discussion post, and then by Sunday of the week that they're assigned at 11:59 p.m. or before, you want to respond to at least 2 of your classmates. And a couple of sentences isn't going to cut it, y'all. You'll lose points. So be considerate, read through your classmates' post, make sure you have more than just a couple of sentences. This is a great way to get to know people, share common experiences. You might even learn something new, okay? Journal assignments in SNHU 107. You have 5 of them. There were 70 points. Those are always due the week they're assigned by Sunday or before. SNHU 107, you have templates for these. So basically, it's a document that's already been created that you're going to go in, open it up, and you're going to be able to type right in there and answer the questions, okay? Warm-ups are like an open book quiz. They're just called warm-ups. The cool thing about the warm-ups is you can take them as many times as you want to earn that best score. I always tell students, review your reading for the week. Any other required materials like videos or any kind of website, things you might want to peruse for your success, then take the warm-up. Again, you can go back and take it as many times as you want to earn your best score. Sound good? Those are always due by Sunday. And then Sundays when they're assigned. And then your project is basically a connecting of the dots from all the concepts and things you're going to talk about all term long. That's due in week 7. And we have a whole webinar dedicated to it. We actually talk about that in week 6. We have a whole webinar dedicated to it. We work with the academic support team, so you know what you're doing and you feel really strong in it. But it's a lot of just basically putting things together and kind of reflecting on the term with what you've covered. Make sense? SNHU 107, sound good? Does this help kind of break this down a little bit? So this is just kind of a quick overview. You can always find this in your syllabus. Remember, when you have discussions, initial post due Thursdays, classmate responses, minimum of 2. You can always respond to more if you want, but you don't have to, at least 2 of them, are by Sunday or before is convenient for your schedule. And then any other assignments are always on Sundays. Okay, so let's switch gears to IDS 105. So IDS 105, very similar. You have 6 discussion assignments. So same thing. Initial discussion post due Thursdays, respond to 2 of your classmates by Sunday or before. Sound good, IDS 105? You have 2 journal assignments. A little bit different for your journal assignments in IDS 105 is you just will be able to answer a series of questions. You open up a Microsoft Word document, answer the series of questions, sharing your thought. And there's also an option for video note submissions, which is where you can record yourself. However, there are requirements that you must meet for that. So if you want to know more about it, check that out under the Start Here area of your classroom or underneath those assignments, okay? Journals due by Sunday or before is convenient for your schedule. You all have 1 warm-up that is graded. And again, that is something, review your course required materials, your reading for the week, and then you can take that as many times as you need to earn that best score. IDS 105, you have a project that you basically work on all term long. This project consists of 4 project drafts. Very much like SNHU 107, it's a template document. So it's a Microsoft Word document. You'll pop it open and you'll have different weeks that you're answering different questions. So week 2, week 3, week 4, week 5, you have a series of questions that you're answering on this document. Okay. And then for module 7, you've already done your project. You've worked on it in those project drafts. You'll just be cleaning it up, editing it, and then getting it ready to submit. Okay, so warm-ups, journals, project drafts, projects, always due by Sundays of the week they're assigned or before is convenient for your schedule. IDS 105, sound okay? Makes sense, everybody, so far? And remember, we have webinars every single week that go over these different assignments. Plus, your instructor is going to put in their course announcements helpful tips, reminders for your success. So I always tell students, always make sure that you are checking your SNHU announcements, always in your classes, and always be checking that SNHU email because many faculty send out tips for success and reminders via email also. So don't be missing those two places, okay? So let's run through these top 10 tips just real quick. Tip number 1 is to prioritize your time. Who has already kind of mapped out when you'll be doing your SNHU study time? When you'll be working on your homework, when you'll be working on your assignments? This is key. Every term I have students that about week 5 are like, oh my, you were right. They learn the hard way. So I always tell students, I know you're taking classes online. There's wonderful flexibility in taking classes online because you can kind of just fit in your classwork when you need to, right? But you want to have a plan. Otherwise, your day and your week get away from you, and then you're scrambling towards the end, okay? But prioritize your time in a way that works best for you. If you're somebody that gets up early before everybody in your household is up, awesome if you can do it then. You're somebody that does it after everybody's in bed, cool, whatever works for you. I also have what I like to call the nooners, which is when you work on things like over your lunch breaks or things at work. And then I have the students that just work in things in the nooks and crannies of their day. Whatever it is, just make sure you're putting in some SNHU time early, or make sure you put in that SNHU time throughout the week, plan it out. But also I like to tell students, if there's a way and it works for your schedule, a lot of students have success when they kind of work on things a little earlier in the week. That way, in case the week falls apart, they're not scrambling at the end of the week. Okay, I want to pause just real quick because I want to make sure that I'm not missing any questions at all. And I know a lot of you have different shift work schedule that you do. You have different things that you're doing, which is totally fine. Fit it in when you can. Bonus tip is, y'all, do not skip the discussion assignments. Discussion points matter. I have been hitting this so hard the last couple of years with students because I have seen too many students that either don't do an initial discussion post for a week or two, or you're not doing your peer responses, or you're only responding to one of the required 2 peer responses. You miss points. And those points add up and they can make or break the grade between 2 different letter grades. I've seen it happen, and that's typically why. So don't skip those discussions. Make sure you're paying attention to them and make sure you're getting them in, okay? I did see a couple of questions in the chat real quick that I just want to remind students of. It's awesome if you have already hopped into your classroom space and started to work on some of your assignments. However, I want to caution you to not work too far ahead because typically if you get too far ahead, students end up having to redo things because you might not fully understand the concept or how the assignment was supposed to be done. And also you won't see any grades until your instructor starts classes for that week, okay? And it's totally fine if you got in there and clicked around and got excited and started doing some things, but just know, don't work super far ahead. Week 1 is module 1. You can start kind of mapping out and rough drafting and putting things together for that first week, but don't be going so far ahead because you will end up redoing things, okay? I just wanted to make sure I pointed that out. But once the class gets going, you are more than welcome to kind of work ahead, but just know that sometimes you might have to redo something if you didn't fully understand what the assignment was asking or you haven't covered the concept yet, okay? Tip number 2 is y'all are already getting an A+ in this. You're making connections. You came to the webinar. You're getting to know other students taking SNHU classes, but I do encourage you to get to know your faculty. Send them an email like, hey, I would send an email like, hey, I'm Melanie. I've been at school for a minute, or hey, I'm Melanie. I'm excited to be taking your class. A little bit about me. Get to know them. Y'all, we're human and we like to know our students just like y'all like to get to know us. Get to know the SNHU departments. You all have so many resources at your fingertips, from academic support and the written feedback service, which they look over writing assignments, any SNHU writing assignment and give you feedback within 12 hours. You have the career team, you have the help desk, you have your amazing advisors. There's just so so many departments that are here for your success. Okay, couple reminders about your electronic textbooks. So IDS 105 and SNHU 107 have electronic textbooks. Okay, so make sure that you get those textbooks purchased. You can go directly into your Brightspace classroom. You click on that little help icon, the little arrow, online student services. It's going to pull up all the different departments here at the university. SNHU bookstore is right there, right front and center in the middle. Okay, click on the bookstore, put in your course code that you're taking online, what term, and it's going to pull up your course materials for you to add it to your cart and check out just like you would on Amazon. You also have to get that connected. You can always reach out to your advisor if you are stuck on getting your book connected, or you're not sure how to do it, or it's like this is just too much. Reach out to your advisor. They'll help you get it all set. Okay. But also, if you click on this course menu and click on start here in both of your classes, it goes over how to get those books connected. Now, I always get this question: do we have to get the electronic textbook? There are sometimes, not always, kind of a loose leaf paper version of the textbooks. They often go out of stock. They're often back ordered. Some students get a hold of them, which if that's your jam, totally get it, understand. However, they usually end up telling me, especially if they purchase both the electronic and the like loose leaf paper version, that they didn't even use the paper one, because you get so used to doing it all electronically and be able to have it with you. But I totally understand if you're somebody that needs that physical copy and it's available, you do you. Okay, so totally fine. There's nothing really different. Sometimes the chapters can be a little bit off. So just make sure you double check what you're supposed to be reviewing. And again, the physical copies are not always available. They tend to go out of stock and they tend to back order. Okay, so I wanted to make sure that y'all knew about that. And just a reminder to check that SNHU email again, because a lot of times instructions go to that email about how to order your books and how to get everything connected. Okay. Tip number 4 is a backup plan. So y'all, life will happen at some point in your educational journey. I have had students with natural disasters, whether it be flooding, hurricanes, snowstorms, powers out, internet's out, students that have been working from their phones for their classes, and toddler throws and breaks the phone or the iPad or the desktop or the laptop stop working. As a faculty member, I had two brand new laptops in the exact same term go like black screen of death, never came back, had to be sent off. So things happen, okay? Work schedules change, life plans change, all kinds of stuff comes up. So I always tell students, write down the phone number and the email address for your course instructors every term and your advisor. That way, if for some reason you don't have any Wi-Fi, you can't get online to email, you have a phone number to call, or vice versa. We know that life can be lifing. And when your faculty and your advisors know what is happening with you and what is going on, even if the week just got away from you, that happens. People get sick, kids get sick, people we take care of, life happens. We understand this. But when you just disappear off the face of the earth, there's not a whole lot we can do. But when you let us know, like reach out, send that email, if your faculty member, maybe text messages or call them, same with your advisor, let them know what's happening. They can help you make a plan for your success, okay? The other thing is if like internet goes out, that tends to be a big one, or a computer or a laptop or a phone go down. Like local libraries have computers you can use. There's also internet. Almost every single restaurant, coffee shop, McDonald's even, everybody has Wi-Fi, right? There's so many things that you can do to still stay connected for your success, okay? So I just wanted to remind you about having that backup plan too. Tip number 5, know what is due and when. We went over that briefly at the beginning, but it's so important to check your course syllabus before the term starts and reference it again. If you get stuck on like when something is due or you're not sure on something, always reach out to your instructor. You can always post a question in the LC, the learning community too. Students always answer those really fast, but just know what is due and when. It's important. And like I said, if you have discussion assignments, initial posts are always due on Thursdays of those weeks. Peer responses by Sunday or before is convenient for your schedule. And then everything else is always by Sunday or before. Okay, just pay attention to those things. Tip number 6, communication is key. You will hear me say this so many times in our webinars. You will hear your faculty say it. Communicate when you're stuck. Communicate when you have a question. Let us know what's going on. Check your My Instructor information in your Brightspace class. A lot of instructors will text message or even share a phone number. Everybody has an email address. Every department at the university has an email address. So you can always have those options. And plus, every department at the university has a good old-fashioned phone number too. Okay. And if your faculty or your advisor or somebody at SNHU is calling and trying to get a hold of you, please make sure you're answering the phone and returning those calls. Okay, y'all. Tip number 7 is watch the webinars. They help you be successful, but again, they're not mandatory, they're not required, they're not graded. Both SNHU 107 and IDS 105 have separate webinars for every single week of the term. Those are loaded by every single Monday of the term. For that week. And then the focus videos will already be loaded. I just re-recorded all of those this last term. So everything's fresh and new and goes over anything that might have been updated in your classroom spaces. But the focus videos are already there for the term. So if you kind of want to go and see what module 1 or module 2 has going on, they're already there. And then your week 1, this webinar will be posted once I get the recording downloaded, and your week 1 will be ready to roll on Monday, June 30th. So it'll walk you through all the things week 1. Okay. Tip number 8, who supports your success? Like, who is there that's maybe going to help you like navigate like life outside the classroom? Maybe they're picking up like things at home, like making dinner or watching kids, or, you know, just supporting your success at home. Maybe they're people that you're going to have like review your writing assignments or kind of just cheer you on. Who are those people, y'all? Who are they? Know your success team, keep them close. I will tell you that when you're adding school to an already really busy plate, sometimes people who don't understand you and your goals and the time that it takes can get a little sassy. They're not your people, right? Know your success team, keep them close, surround yourself with people that know about your goals and are going to support you genuinely, but also tell you the hard truth, like, hey, you need to get that assignment done, okay? So just know your success team, because it can really help you navigate your journey over the term. Okay. Tip number 9, I touched on this a little bit earlier because somebody asked me about like how long it can take for grades to get back. Using your feedback is super important. So just a reminder, first and foremost is that faculty respond within 24 hours. So know that you'll always get a response within 24 hours. If it's been over 24 hours, you can always reach out again, but just know it can take about 24 hours. It's usually way, way, way less than that. But know that. And then from a grading perspective, like I gave the example of week 1. So you start classes on Monday. That initial discussion post is due Thursday. Those peer responses and any other assignments are due Sunday of that week, right? Monday through Sunday. And then your faculty have from that Sunday at 11:59 p.m. until the next Sunday, so 7 whole days, to grade your work. Again, some faculty grade as things come in, some grade throughout the week, some you might not see until the end of that 7-day timeline. It's just how it is. So just know that. If you ever have a question though, like you were really worried about an assignment, or did they get it, or did I do this right? You can always reach out to your faculty, okay? So just know that that's there. But every week when your faculty grade, they're going to be giving you feedback on like what you did well, resources you might want to use, things that you might need to work on. Make sure that you review that, especially in IDS 105 and SNHU 107. There are assignments that kind of build off of each other. And so you want to make sure that you know what to do moving forward. Okay. Tip number 10, use your resources. This is, again, almost like the success. Here at SNHU, you have so many resources. If you don't have a lot of support outside the classroom, you have teams of people here at SNHU. So there is 24/7 drop-in tutoring, which is online, real easy, click away. Written feedback is the academic support team. You can find that underneath academic support. You can submit writing assignments, any SNHU writing assignments, so discussions, journals, projects, papers, research papers, whatever it might be that's SNHU. You can select the areas you want the tutor to focus on, and they get you feedback within 12 hours. Pretty cool, right? You got the learning community webinars, the learning community spaces, plus you have advisors, the career team, the help desk, if there's anything technical that you might need. Cool, Robert. Robert said he's already used 24/7 drop-in. They responded really quickly, which is absolutely awesome. And then you have, of course, SNHU Wellness, and SNHU Connect is where the clubs, organizations, and learning community are. And then outside the classroom, you have what's called social supports. And that is whoever those loved ones and people are that are outside of the classroom. And I love that. I ask my pet all the time for help. She doesn't care. Y'all, I have a 5-month-old black lab puppy. I feel like she's the same. Like she's always happy to see me though. But I know a lot of students, those pets are super important. And so I always like to include them in my list of social supports because sometimes we might get a grade back that we didn't do so hot. Or we need somebody to celebrate with and they're going to cheer us on, right? So I always want to remind you of that. So those are kind of the top 10 tips for success. A reminder, if you have not yet been an SNHU Connect, check out the learning communities for IDS 105 and SNHU 107. I'm going to stop sharing this presentation real quick just because I want to show you guys the classroom space real fast. So if you are totally fine with the classroom space and know what it looks like, you can hop off. This will be uploaded here pretty soon. Always within 24 hours though. But if you just want to know like where to click and how to find things, then this is what I want to just kind of spend some time doing. So I'm going to start with IDS 105. Know that IDS 105 and SNHU 107, every classroom you have in Brightspace is going to look very similar, but I wanted to point out a couple of things at the top. First and foremost, I wanted to point out this help area. Click on this little icon. You can always get to the service desk, but I wanted to show you there's these student tutorial videos. So if you're not very techy or you're not sure kind of how to navigate your electronic classroom space, take a minute and watch these student tutorial videos. They're all YouTube videos, they're short and they're so helpful, okay? But you can also click on online student services. And that's what I was telling y'all, that it'll pull up all the different departments here at SNHU. So it'll kind of just has them all in one little space. So you'll see the help desk. Here's the bookstore. I always tell students, click the blue, gets you where you want to go. Okay. Quick link to academic advisors. You can get to academic support here too. The library is right here. The library is wonderful, has so many resources. I know some of you all had questions about financial aid and book vouchers, student financial services, links right here, or connect directly with your SNHU financial services person. That online accessibility center team is down here. We got SNHU Connect, the career team. But one of the things I wanted to point out is most of your assignments, if not all, will be some sort of Microsoft Word document. So you need to have something that is Microsoft Word, either Microsoft Word or something Microsoft Word compatible. I'm talking to my Mac users, my Apple users, okay? So when you turn your assignments in, you are submitting them in your Brightspace classroom, okay? But you're doing that on a Microsoft Word document, either a document that you open up and you're typing it in and then you're uploading it into your classroom space. I saw some questions about that, about how you turn those in. Or if it's a template assignment, you're opening up that Microsoft Word document template and typing right in it. If you do not have Microsoft Word or something compatible, I wanted to show you that you can click on this Office 365 and other software. There was a bunch of software that you get for free as an SNHU student. That Microsoft Office 365 has like PowerPoint, Microsoft Word, Excel, all the things, okay? So you get it for free. So you just click the blue and follow the prompts to get it downloaded to you. And if you have questions or you get stuck, reach out directly to our SNHU help desk, okay? And then the other thing I wanted to make sure that I showed you too is, and I'm going to pause just real quick. So I see some questions about submissions. Y'all, you will upload things underneath your course underneath that week. Okay. So when you click on course menu and you click on, this is kind of a quick menu. There's learning modules, discussions. You can view assignments. You can always check your grades here. Okay. But when you click on learning modules, what I want to point out is always review this start here area. And I saw some questions about like, how do I know how to submit assignments? Review those tutorial videos that I showed you underneath that help icon. These student tutorial videos, they'll show you how to do all of that. Anything that is graded, you are uploading. So like if this was your classroom and you were working on module 1, week 1, everything would be uploaded underneath those assignment spots. Okay, so, but I wanted to show you start here because for IDS 105, it's a copy of your syllabus. Know it has the policies, the rules, what you're doing. There's a couple of cool videos in here. Plus this vital source information is everything about that electronic textbook and getting it connected, and helpful videos and FAQs for you. Remember I talked about video notes? This is where you can find out that information. And then here is a link to SNHU Connect, that academics community where you can find the IDS 105 learning community. Okay, so I wanted to make sure that I showed you all that. Remember, week 1 is module 1. Week 2 is module 2, all the way through week 8, module 8. You're only working 1 week at a time. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time on the actual assignments and things like that because we have an entire webinar dedicated to module 1 that's going to kick off for y'all next week. But if you click on module 1, what I wanted to point out is always click the blue. Click on the introduction, especially IDS 105. You have so much, not so much, but you have a lot of reading within the module itself, in addition to textbook reading. Okay. So know that you'll always have an overview, the objectives of the module. So always make sure you scroll all the way down. I'm going to move this little guy over real quick. And then arrow over. For example, you'll notice you have reading here within the module. Okay, so I always like to point that out for my IDS 105 students. The other thing I wanted to point out, for example, when you click on that module, so for module 1, when you click on that, you're going to see your assignment. So here's that discussion assignment. Okay, so you're going to see, like, here's the questions you're answering, and this goes for SNHU 107 too. Just kind of real quick, click the blue. Gets you to where you want to go. It's going to pull up the discussion board. There's all the questions. You will have a spot that says create new thread. I'm on my faculty mode, so I don't have that. But there's videos and stuff that show you that. Create new thread. You open it up. You type right in it. Okay, so that's what I wanted to make sure I showed you. In any assignments, you'll have an upload button that you upload those assignments directly so your faculty can grade them. Okay, IDS 105, you feeling okay? I just wanted to show you really quick. Solomon, I'm not sure what you're asking about what course to start with. You want to double check what courses or course you're registered for. So for most of you, you're either taking SNHU 107 or IDS 105. You're not taking both. I don't think. Most people don't take both. So I would double check your class schedule, see what you're registered for. But no, you always start with module 1. Okay? All right, IDS 105. That is kind of the basics that I wanted to make sure that I showed y'all. SNHU 107, very similar. The one thing I wanted to point out that I kind of forgot about was when you first log into those classroom spaces, there'll be this My Instructor. You'll see your instructor, either a photo of them. This is a generic class. There's nobody loaded in here, but you'll see a photo of them or something they're interested in. So I always like to know, for students to know, like, that's where you find who your actual instructor is. Okay. SNHU 107, very similar. Every class you take is going to be very similar in layout. Okay, everybody. That help button, again, the arrow, quick to the service desk. Online Student Services pulls up all those departments, and the student tutorial videos are quick YouTube videos that walk you through, like, how to navigate this entire space. Okay. I also wanted to point out, just really quick, if you click on academic support, that's at the top, it'll pull up that academic support page. Remember how I said there's that 24/7 drop-in tutoring? It pulls up their menu of services. Okay, y'all. So this is one of the coolest things. There's tons of workshops you can join if you want to on all kinds of different topics. But that 24/7 tutoring on just different questions is, you click on Connect Now, it'll connect you. Everything's a click away. Here's that written feedback. So if you're somebody that's been out of the classroom for a minute, or you're not really strong in academic writing, I get it. I get it. This is where you can write up your rough draft, and then you will upload and submit that draft and select the areas you want the tutor to focus on. Click Submit a Draft, walk through the tutorial, and the places, they give you feedback within 12 hours, which is really cool. But there's also all kinds of one-on-one peer tutoring and academic coaching, but there's also this frequently asked questions space too. I just want to kind of show you that that's what that menu looks like for academic support. Students love this menu. Oh, Tara, good. Tara says, I use the written feedback and it's amazing. The response time is awesome, and so is the feedback, which is so cool. So thank you for sharing that. I know as a student, sometimes it can be nerve-wracking to, like, reach out to resources and to share your work, but do it because they're here to support your success. Okay. Also under SNHU 107, again, course menu, you have that announcements you can click on to review any announcements that are there. Learning modules, quick link to discussions. This is how you get to quick link on assignments, and then always to be checking your grades. Okay, y'all. For learning modules underneath SNHU 107, a couple of things I want to point out. Again, click on that Start Here area. You're going to see a copy of your syllabus. But what I also wanted to point out is you're going to see an overview of how to purchase your books. Here's the book you're getting. Here's how to get everything connected, and it talks to you about Vital Source. Okay, so I want to make sure that y'all saw that. And then, of course, there's information on Video Note there too if you want to review that, if that interests you. You also have a quick link to the learning community spaces. Here's all the modules again. When you click on module 1, remember, always click the introduction. Always go through the overview and the objectives, arrow down, scroll over. I always tell students, like, don't forget that. It'll go over any kind of videos you might want to watch, reading that you might have that's in your textbook or outside of your textbook. All that kind of information is always there. Okay. The other thing I wanted to point out really quick, just like I showed y'all with IDS 105, when you have those discussion assignments, it's going to go over an overview of the topic. It's going to say like, hey, for your initial post, both classes, y'all are introducing yourselves. And then you have a couple of other questions that are different that you need to answer, okay? But this is how you get to that. You just click directly on the blue, get to where you want to go, pulls up the discussion. There's a whole video about it in the learning community and in those tutorial videos. Here's that warm-up that y'all have that first week. You just click on the warm-up and you can take it. The cool thing about the warm-ups, whether you're IDS 105 or SNHU 107 or really any of them, they auto-grade. So as soon as you click submit, you'll see your score. Okay? Okay. Y'all, that's it. How we feeling? Did this help kind of break down what's out there, the information? I'm going to stop sharing my screen here just real quick. So I can see the chat and make sure I got everybody. Was this helpful? And I know it's okay to be nervous and excited. It's okay to have all the emotions. I think sometimes we just need a quick like overview of where we're clicking, where to find things, maybe break down some of the concepts. And that's what the learning community webinars honestly do from week to week. So like I said, I didn't cover a ton about the classroom space because there's an entire module 1 webinar that's going to be ready to roll Monday morning that goes over everything. Okay. So when you log in, you can just go and look over all that information. I saw a quick question about the discussion board. So Sierra, once somebody in your classroom space has posted a discussion board, when you navigate yourself to the discussion board, you're going to see anything that other students have posted, and they'll be blue. You click on the blue and you can open that up and you can review what your classmates said, and then you'll see a reply to thread button. Click on reply to thread, type up your stuff, click post. Okay. I do like to tell students too that sometimes when you're working on your discussion assignments, some students have told me this tip that they like to have those in backup, like in a Microsoft Word document. So whatever they typed up for peer responses or for their initial post, they pop it into a little Word document and save it just in case there's any kind of technical snafu. They don't have to start over. So just some of those little tips that are out there. The biggest thing is, y'all, take a deep breath. Okay. Breathe in, breathe out. Starting school is a lot, but y'all are 100% capable of this. Like for all of you, this is something that you want to do, something you've maybe wanted to do for a long time. Or maybe you're the first person in your family to like ever go to college, or like you're somewhere in between. You've tried it before and it didn't work. Whatever it might be, you are here. And this is your time. And you have so much support here at the university that's literally a click away. So it's up to you to make the time in whatever way works best for you. Get into your classroom spaces, know when your assignments are due, and then just work through week to week. And if you get stuck, you reach out to instructors, you reach out to advisors, you use your resources. Okay. So I want to make sure y'all got this. You 100% got this. I see a couple of questions about I'm taking like 2 classes or 3 classes. Is that like too much for me? Y'all, I don't know all of you and your academic abilities and your time like you do. Okay. I always encourage students, if you're not sure if you should, what your class schedule should look like, always work with your advisor. Think realistically about your time, your energy. I know several students that totally rock multiple classes, and I know other students that are like, yep, I'm going to do one at a time. Whatever works best for you, that's okay. And know too, y'all, never compare yourself to anybody else in your classroom space. Do what works best for you. You might learn some ideas or ways to manage your time or prioritize your time or ways to try something new. But just because somebody's in there bright and early first thing every Monday morning and you might not get your discussion post until like Thursday when it's due, that is okay. Okay. Your pace, your place, you got this. All right. So y'all, that's it. I'm going to get this webinar recording downloaded and I will get it uploaded to those YouTube pages. I'm going to post them just real quick again for y'all so you can find them. Just a reminder, these are always recorded anytime there's a live session. Those focus videos are already up for the term. If you go to the webinar recordings, you will see the current term webinars because we have students that are in their very last week of the term. If you haven't yet gotten into the learning communities and SNHU Connect, pop in there. Be a part of those communities, introduce yourself. It's so awesome to see the students interact, and I'm in there too, so you'll get a reply from me. But it's a great place if you have questions or if you want to just see like you're all not alone. Y'all have very similar questions and feelings, and sometimes it's just nice to know that there's somebody else that's the same as you, right? So we are so excited for you here at SNHU. We are absolutely thrilled for you to be one of our SNU students. I hope today's session was super helpful. You learned a lot, and just know, like, take a deep breath, make your plan for next week of when you're going to study and get things done, and just go get it Monday morning. All right, y'all, have a great rest of your weekend. You're going to be fabulous, and I'll see you next week for week 1. Bye, everybody. You got this.